My name is Chris. I'm the founder of Portal Network. Portal Network, we've been focusing on connecting and enhancing existing blockchain technology. Some of the enhancements that we have done in the past are such as the EIP 1062, where we formalize IPFS hash into ENS resolver so that it resolves multi-hash such as IPFS, StoreJ, and SIA. And we did the same thing for Ethereum Classic on ECIP 1044, and later that got merged. And after that, we proposed to MetaMask to integrate ENS. The reason for that is we want basically the mass adoption of people that use MetaMask wallet to be able to access decentralized website without having to download a new browser or integrate anything else. All they need is the latest MetaMask wallet. So if you have the latest MetaMask update, you can type, for example, ChristopherShen.eth, and that will direct you to my personal webpage, for example. And after that, we decided to work with other blockchain protocols, such as OneChain, Quantum, and Icon, to deploy their own naming system. So DNS shaped today's internet. We believe that blockchain name service will shape tomorrow's internet. People rely on naming system in everyday life. It plays an incredible and critical role in internet and its adoption. It often acts like a gateway to the central web. For example, when you search for a friend on Facebook, you're using the platform's naming service to resolve his or her name to the profile. When you look up a website, you're using the DNS to resolve the domain name to its host IP addresses. So what if when you look up a decentralized website, you're using the ECNS, Ethereum Classic name service, to resolve the domain name to its host Ethereum Classic address as IPFS hash, and other hash, for example. So that opens up, we believe, numerous opportunity. For example, domain name service before we have IP address. It's not easy to remember. How about now? It's even harder to remember these. But when we turn and give them a name, it changed the whole story. You no longer have to. I'm sure many of you don't even have to try to remember these names like Facebook.com, Yahoo.tw, Baidu.cn. People, human, we have this habit of remembering names already. So we don't believe in changing that, but more importantly, to change the underlying technology to make it decentralized. So currently, blockchain is facing a similar issue with hash. And it's even harder to remember. But what if we turn these hash into something like this? What if in the near future, we'll be visiting more and more decentralized websites like Facebook.etc or Amazon.eth or Twitter.etc. So I believe a lot in sort of imagining what's going to be like in the future. That's kind of our incentive and passion that really drive within our own project. So currently, for example, when you visit my decentralized website, ChristopherShen.eth, the file is stored on IPFS. It has a smart contract in it that if you send, for example, Ether to me through my Ether wallet, so you can go on my Ether wallet and type, or Myth wallet, or my crypto and type ChristopherShen.eth. When you send the Ether to me, I actually go to 2 different addresses. So we can have a smart contract within it. We have a lot more within it and do a lot of things. Essentially, we can create a decentralized e-commerce that's autonomous and almost cannot be shut down, for example. So we're living in a different era, moving very fast from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0. And we're now imagining what is it like in Web 3.0, a sort of where owner can change their state and transfer their state instead of stateless. where we actually own our data and don't rely on cookies, for example. And this is sort of a raw idea of what we think decentralized technical stack is like. Where decentralized domain register is kind of like the front gate, and well, different operating system. As we don't know who is basically the end game, so we think that different operating system is important to work together to share these resources and adoptions. So in a decentralized website, we have a decentralized operating system, a decentralized file storage, a decentralized data storage, a decentralized CDN, for example, and pretty much have a decentralized application and a decentralized website. And now, even today, we are already able to use these decentralized infrastructure to build a decentralized website and application. All it needs is easy guidelines and tool to drive that mass adoption. The tool is already there. So Portal, ever since we started in 2017, we've been actively look into the blockchain ecosystem and try to work with multiple blockchain protocol. One of the reasons for that is if we look at centralized internet, development and adoption usually only go to one place. But when it comes to decentralized, you have different protocols to choose from. And we believe that it's important to work with multiple blockchain protocol and to provide this sort of a decentralized domain name service, allowing each developer to choose whatever protocol they want to. So blockchain name service, and somehow solve the Zuko triangle, where it is decentralized, it is human memorizable, meaningful, and secure. So adoption will not only come on blockchain name service. There are needs surrounding products. So we build two main platforms. One we call it Mume, which focus on non-technical user adoption, and empower both technical and non-technical users to easily interact and deploy decentralized website or DApp. The first thing we did was creating a marketplace that makes it frictionless for you to easily buy and sell domain name. When you want to drive adoption, like convincing, for example, a guy on a coffee shop to buy a decentralized domain name, he's probably not going to interact with the contract directly by sending transaction to unseal the bid or finalize the bid. He might just want to buy it like how he would buy it on GoDaddy, for example. So the marketplace allows any user to easily buy, sell, and bid on domain name. It automatically help you unseal the bid, so you no longer have to unseal the bid 3 days later and finalize the bid if you win. It sends you a notification when it's about to end to create this friendly user experience. Everything that I'm about to show you today is workable, and there's a link that you can check it out and try it out. Afterward, we created a domain manager. You can imagine it being like a decentralized GoDaddy DNS that allows you to manage cross-chain blockchain name service. So you can create your own subdomain. You can create like about.facebook.eth, today.facebook.eth, for example. You can connect different wallet address to them. You can connect different IP hash with it and smart contract. So where you allowing non-technical users to easily manage these domain names to create better adoptions. And so now we have a place where you can buy domain, a place you can manage domain. The next thing we're thinking, how do we let users actually build their own DWeb and host it on it? And so we created what we call a web builder that allows any non-technical user to choose a template they want and then deploy it on IPFS. And they can share it with their friends and view it through MetaMask and so on. We also have an uploader that allows you to upload an HTML zip file, and just like how you will do in a centralized ways. And basically to start experiencing sort of a raw idea of what decentralized website should be like. Then we know that, again, we need an extension that can turn sort of regular browser to be able to read decentralized website, especially having different protocols. So we created a browser extension that you can download for Google and be able to view these decentralized websites by simply typing in, for example, Christopher.icon. And a showcase is where we basically categorize these websites. So we launched this in August, and a lot of people start uploading their DWeb. We then realized a lot of people actually love to try IPFS, love to try decentralized architecture. And then here you can actually find different decentralized websites that people build, and it's like kind of like a search engine in the sense that you can type in, like, for example, dog, and then find an image about dog on IPFS. And then explore, because we have different protocols, so we need an explorer that you can find information about it. What's the highest bid, when it was bid, where it was transferred to, who you transferred to it. So on our explorer, you can easily basically type in information like christopher.etc and find information about it. Then we create an application that you can download and manage your domain name. We're now launching on the Coinbase wallet, the Toshi wallet, so allow you to easily manage your domain name up there. OK, so all of that is for non-technical user adoption. Then the next part we want to focus is an even crucial problem, and that is the technical user adoption. So Kaizen is a platform where we empower users to learn, deploy, run, and manage decentralized applications. So my team, we're from Taiwan, and we often, when we have a new developer, we talk to other engineers to try blockchain. We often find out that a lot of these tech is scattered around. Like, if you look at back in 2016 and now 2018, there's like 2,000 more solutions, I think. And when you have abundant information, you just don't know where to start. So Kaizen is that tool that we're attempt to create that one-stop solution, where we translating a lot of these information into, for example, Chinese, English, and Japanese, Korean, and to work with different teams in creating this adoption in one of the most straightforward way. The first tool that we did is Kaizen management system. You can imagine it being like a decentralized Heroku, where you can manage your decentralized application across multiple blockchain protocol. So maybe today you're feeling lucky and you want to try one chain. Tomorrow you want to try Icon, and today you want to do Ethereum Classic. A command line interface for cross-chain integration and service management between various technologies such as IPFS, SwarmDB, NOAA network, and so on. We encourage any blockchain developer tools to basically join us in building it. Then, most important, we have a guideline that basically describe how to use these tools in different languages to allow the user to sort of, again, drive that adoption. Often, people underestimate language gap and information gap. Coming from a Chinese-speaking country, language gap is usually really, really big, and it can really make people not confident to develop on certain application. So, and that's why we create these toolkits that allows user to easily read them and understand them. And again, cross-chain infrastructure, very similarly like how Infura does with Ethereum. This is our effort to focus on other blockchain protocol to allow them to drive that adoption that we see in Infura when it comes to smart contract. And then API supports useful for choosing and managing all the services. And if you have any question about it, you could check out our web and to find out more. And lastly, and most importantly, we created what we call a faucet. So faucet is like that first step of developing any decentralized application. You test it in a test network. So a lot of projects that are coming out are they have different rules to get these testnet token. So Faucet is like our attempt for a one-stop solution for decentralized application developer to claim testnet token and focus on just building. So let's say today you're on the Ethereum Ropsten network, and you can actually send back the token and then get some token from Ethereum Classic. And tomorrow, maybe you want to try Icon, you send back the Ethereum Classic and you get the Icon testnet token before you deploy on the mainnet. This actually turned out to be one of our best results, where we had developer today, they're trying out this, and today they saw, oh, there's something new, and they go and try it out. And this, again, gives them a choice to choose between protocol, not really favoring which protocol, but allowing that true adoption to drive into the same concept, which is blockchain, decentralization, and open ledger. And the last piece of puzzle in Kaizen is hackathon. So we've thrown 2 hackathons every 2 months in our effort to connect developer to decentralization. We did a hackathon back in July 14 in Korea, where 70 developers came and participated using one-chain Ethereum, neural network, BlueZell, decentralized, SwarmDB, and so on. And that's when we realized that language gap is a big problem. And when we realized that by simply translating a lot of these user manual and guidelines, it drives phenomenal adoption when it comes to teaching people about it. And we think that's something that's really lacking in the industry now. Yeah. So that's Mume and Kaizen. So we think like right now, when we look at blockchain name service, Mume and Kaizen, is that it is sort of being a support to cross this sort of a chasm where we're facing right now. That a lot of our how do we solve that basically user adoption problem, and how do we see the market with different protocol coming out every day, and so that's why we aim to connect and build blockchain name service standard in every blockchain protocol, to sort of through that connecting different protocol together and basically understand and let developer to choose whatever they want and to build on top of them. And lastly, if you have the latest MetaMask installed, please visit game.portalnetworkweb.eth. It's a little decentralized game that we created using a ERC721 contract that's run on the Ropsten network. So if you don't have a token, you can go to the faucet and claim a testnet token and play the game, where you can mint a card. So every single of these cards are stored with a unique IPFS hash. Then the card background, the character, and the number, they all have unique hash. And then basically when you mint the token, it match. So there's like 8,000 different possibilities. Your card is always going to be unique. And when you check the ENS, for example, I own like the Superman card, for example. And you check the ENS, they actually have like 3 different IPFS hashes, and you know which image this is. And so for sure, you know that is like a non-fungible token that connects to the image and the card you own. And it's like a big and small card. It relies to ENS very much because when you play like small and big, you actually have to unseal the bid. So the player that you're playing with wouldn't know which card you're playing. So let's say the game is about small and you play big, then you unseal the bid and you realize that you're big and you lose the bid, basically. So it's like a fun little game too. And this is the type of stuff that we do during the hackathon and guidelines to basically teach developer engineers around the world to try and build their own game like this. Yeah. And if you have any question, please email me and then add my Telegram and so on. Yeah. Thank you very much.